This is East Idaho Newsmakers with Nate Eaton.
Thanks for being with us today. We're going to introduce you to one of the smartest high schoolers in eastern Idaho. This is Ivan Ruiz. We're also going to talk with Martha Ramirez. She is an educator, a talent search coordinator. You do a bunch of stuff. We'll get to that in a minute. She works with Trio, but first I want to introduce you to Ivan. You're wearing a Princeton shirt here with us, Ivan. Why is that?
Because I am going to be in the class of 2023 for Princeton University.
And you currently go to Skyline.
Correct.
First person in your family, first generation college student?
Yes, I will be the first one to go to college.
And not only are you going to Princeton, but you don't have to pay for it.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about how this happened.
So just growing up, I always dreamt of going to a big school, and as I was coming up in high school, I really put my mind to it, and I worked really hard for it, and fortunately I got to the point where I am, and I applied to an Ivy League, and that's where I'm ending up going.
Did you expect to be accepted, or was this kind of like, I'm just going to throw it out there?
Early on, it wasn't expected at all, but as I got farther into high school and I really put my mind to it, it started to become more of a reality than anything else.
So your parents didn't go to college?
No.
And when did you realize that you want to do this, go to college?
So I'd say from a really early age, I'd say about the end of grade school, it was just kind of what was expected. It's just kind of a standard that I put myself to, that I wanted to be the first one to go to college out of my family.
And your parents accepted that and supported it?
Correct, yes. They fully supported it. They thought it was the right thing to do for me.
So Princeton costs a lot of money.
Correct.
And when you said, I'm going to apply to Princeton, what did they think?
So applying to Princeton really didn't come until, I'd say, about 2 years ago. They knew I was going to apply to a college. Apart from that, we had no idea where I was going to go, where I was going to be, anything of that sort. So I just kind of put on this mentality that I needed to do the best that I could so I could have the most scholarships wherever I went, regardless of where it was.
And you applied to other schools as well?
No.
You applied to Princeton, and that's it?
Correct.
Wow. Okay, so you applied to Princeton, and when did you hear that, yes, you were accepted? How soon after the application?
So I went through a restrictive early decision application. So I was bound to only apply to one school for a set period of time while they released answers for that application. So my due date was November 1st, and I received an answer on December 12th.
That, yes, you had been accepted?
Correct.
That's kind of a fast turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then when did you find out about the full ride scholarship?
So financial information was available a few days later when they mailed offers of admission packets.
Okay, so in the process of applying to the university, you also applied for scholarships?
Yes, correct.
I guess you sent in all your grade, academic information and whatnot.
Yeah, and Princeton has a very in-depth financial aid resources, so along with the application, you turn that in and you receive your answer as well.
Because they want to know if you can pay for it, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so you send it in. Once you got the acceptance on December 12th, what was that like at your house?
So unfortunately, I wasn't home at the time. I was working, and I received my answer while I was on a break at work. So,
Where do you work?
I am a team leader at one of the Jack in the Box here in town.
Okay, so you're at Jack in the Box.
Correct.
You go to break. Did you have an email on your phone?
Yeah, correct.
And what was that like?
It was phenomenal. It was crazy. I just looked at my phone. I couldn't believe it. I walked out of the store. I went into my car. I drove around to think. I didn't tell anybody just because I was so ecstatic about it. So for, I'd say a good 2-3 hours, I didn't tell anybody about it.
Wow, you were able to keep it in.
Yeah.
So then when you went home, what was that like when you told your parents?
It was crazy. They were very ecstatic about it, and then just knowing that I finally made it, basically, and that I was going to be going to a really good college was.
Did the thought ever come into your mind, how am I going to pay for this?
Not necessarily. I knew that if I would have gotten into Princeton, it was already kind of projected that financially it would be well enough that I could manage.
I see. Did you get an extra big milkshake that night from work or something? I mean, upsize the combo meal? I mean, I don't know.
Right?
No, okay. So I want to bring in Martha here. Now, Martha, the program you work for, Trio, is part of how Ivan was able to get to where he is today. What is TRIO for those people that have never heard of it?
So TRIO is a federally funded program that helps primarily first-generation low-income students reach their post-secondary academic goals in institutions that they wish to apply to.
So TRIO's across the country, every state?
Yes, nationwide.
And you are associated with it through Idaho State University?
Yes.
And so do you go out and try to find kids like Ivan? How did the two of you get connected?
So I started with TRIO probably in May of this year. Prior to that, there was another advisor that served Ivan, and Ivan can share all about his experiences with those advisors and individuals. The way we normally reach out to students is we present to classes, we present to groups of students and just tell them about the program and what services we provide. So we help students all the way from 8th grade to 12th grade and give them structure and opportunity to access the institution that they desire.
Okay, so you might go into the schools and present, and then kids like Ivan could go up and say, I'm interested, and then you mentor them through the years?
Yes, mentor them through the years on different levels. We work with them at personal level, academic level. If they're struggling with their academics, we also help them that way, and basically setting the goal and giving them that opportunity to realize that post-secondary education is possible and it is out there for them.
How many kids that you know of in Idaho with TRIO have been able to get into Ivy Leagues?
That I know of, counted, limited, limited
This
students.
is rare. This is a rare thing. Okay, so Ivan, how did you find out about TRIO?
So TRIO, my freshman year, it was registration in school. I remember Angel Zamora, he was the one that first connected me with TRIO. He was doing a presentation in the library just about TRIO, and I wasn't interested at all. I didn't talk to him, I left. I was too busy with other things. It was never like, oh, I'm interested in TRIO, like this is something that I need, right? But fortunately, much later in the year, a few months into the year, he personally contacted me and said that I had been suggested as a student of high interest for him, someone who he thought would be very much helped by the program. So after a few months, he contacted me, and then ever since then, he was kind of the person that was there. Him and Dr. Sheldon Adkins were two of the biggest advocates for me pushing those boundaries and basically getting me to the point where I am today.
So pushing the boundaries, and what do you do when you work with these people? You know, as the team.
So me and Angel initially started by looking at colleges, projecting classes, seeing what we need to do, what the steps were to get to the best possible outcome that we could get to.
Did you tell him at that time I want to go to Princeton?
No, I didn't. I told him I'm hoping to go to a school where I don't have to pay, whether that's ISU, maybe in my wildest dreams it was Duke at the time, or Stanford or something like that. And he kind of looked at me and he said, well, if you have the brains, why wouldn't you just risk it all and go for the biggest one in the pond, like the biggest fish in the pond, basically?
And you did.
And I did.
So basically they say, okay, you got to take AP classes?
Yeah, they're like, you have to take these AP classes, you have to stay on track here. It'd be a good idea to do clubs. At the time I played football, so that was also a plus.
Yeah, so tell me what AP classes have you done? How many?
Couldn't tell you.
Really?
I kind of lost
that many?
Yeah.
So you've done a ton of AP. What's your GPA?
Currently weighted it is 4.25.
Wow. So you have straight A's.
Correct.
For how long?
Since ever.
Since birth. Straight A's since birth. You've always got an A.
Correct.
You played football. What other clubs were you in?
So growing up, I played soccer in middle school. I was also a competitive powerlifter. I played football. Currently, I am the Honor Society president. I am in Proactus Via. I did art club for a few years, scholastics team. I dabbled in some student government activities.
And then you work too?
Correct.
How many hours a week do you work?
Part-time, so I'd say 15 to 25 hours a week.
How do you fit it all in?
It's just a balance.
Yeah.
Finding days where I can work and finding days where I can focus on that, finding days where I can focus more on school, and just finding time for exercise and a healthier lifestyle.
So Martha, I would imagine, are a lot of kids this disciplined that you're working with?
There is a spectrum, but most of our students aren't as disciplined. That's another portion that we help with in TRIO, is helping them structure those days, kind of looking at the AP classes and stuff like that. A lot of the work also is, encouraging the students to go above and beyond, just as Ivan was just mentioning with his previous advisor.
Yeah, I imagine for some of these students, this is their first time getting any sort of one-on-one mentorship to help them realize that there is life after high school.
And that's why we encourage our students to join from 8th grade. They're eligible to enroll since 8th grade. 9th and 10th grade is when they're really doing some of that exploring. Obviously, high school is new, it's different. So Ivan, props to you. He did it 2 years with no advisor, nobody telling him, maybe like from family support. But yeah, definitely that's something that we do with our students.
So what if Princeton would have said no?
I couldn't tell you. My next step would have been to apply to other schools, just other Ivy Leagues, and seeing where it went from there. But
what was your ACT, or did you do the SAT?
I did both. I submitted my ACT. I think it was a 34 regular and a 35 super.
Wow. All right. And your SAT?
I don't remember.
Wow. All right, so you graduate in June, or this May. This
correct.
May. And then you take off for Princeton in the fall.
Correct.
What are you going to be doing this summer?
Probably working, enjoying my last summer here in Idaho. I'm a really big mountain biker, so I really like to do that around this area.
You think you'll miss Idaho?
I feel like I really will. I'm more of a country rural boy at heart.
Yeah. I guess your family will still be here though, and you'll be coming back. What do you want to study?
Currently, I think my declared major is biology.
And do you want to go to med school after? Is that
Yes, correct.
You want to be a doctor?
That's kind of the plan, yeah.
Wow. Ultimately, what is your dream job today?
Dream job today, I'd probably say orthopedic surgery, specialize in something.
Do you have younger siblings?
Yes, two.
Two. And sister, brother?
My sister, Stephanie, she's turning 13, and my brother, Alex, just turned 8.
And what do they think about all this?
They're pretty indifferent. They kind of live in their own little world.
Yeah, they probably, our brother's going to school.
Yeah.
What have you taught them, or what do you plan to teach them about utilizing programs like this? And
I'd say it's a very big help. TRIO, for a long time, really motivated me to do better. And so if they're looking for the help, they're looking for the resource, it's a great resource to use.
Martha, how do you get funding? Is it through the federal government?
Yes, we're federally funded. So each institution does a grant application. And interestingly enough, ISU is one of 5 institutions in the nation that holds all the programs available through TRIO.
Yeah, because that's right. Well, let's touch on that. There's 5 different programs. You were through the talent search.
Correct.
Is that kind of, you search out the talent, search out the people that you think will be?
Yeah, so that's one of our pre-collegiate programs. There's 3 of them. So we have educational talent search. It's very light touch. We meet with the students, and we serve about 250 students each advisor here in the southeastern area. And there's also Upward Bound and Upward Bound Math Science. Those are also pre-collegiate programs, which just means they're at the high school level. And then we have programs, once they're in their institution, we have the Student Support Services program, TRIO Student Support Services, and there's also a McNair Scholars program, and there's also an Educational Opportunity Center program, which works with adult learners. And there's also a Veterans Upward Bound program. So TRIO works with any age, anybody.
Not just high schoolers.
Yep, not just high schoolers.
And you can read a lot more about the individual programs. We'll put a link down below that you can click on and find out about each of those. I'll be honest, I didn't know about this program at all till we found out about you, and it's fascinating about the help that's there. Did you get a paycheck today? Are you a federal worker?
Yes.
You did get paid?
I did.
Okay, just making sure that you weren't part of the shutdown. All right. Well, Ivan, what advice or words of wisdom would you give to other high schoolers watching that say, wow, he inspires me?
Honestly, I would just say that it is a struggle sometimes, and you just got to push through. And I think one of the biggest things that motivated me was just the perpetuation of success. You have to get something rolling, and you have to keep it rolling, because as soon as you stop, it becomes much harder. So, at least in my case, what success was brought on by continuation and powering through.
Did you ever get any pushback from friends or family about, dude, you're doing too much, calm down, or was it always support?
It was always support. I think it was just more of an intrapersonal thing where there were struggles, just like finding time to balance things, sometimes not having enough time for friends because I was doing other things, or not having enough time for schoolwork because I was doing other things. So I think it was more within myself where the struggles were, but all around me was support, and so that always helped.
You mentioned continuing once you get going, continuing the success, not getting off the wheel, I guess you could say. How do you do that when you hit a rough patch?
Personally, when I hit a rough patch, it's all about perspective for me. It's more of a chance to learn, more deeply, because I feel like struggle in itself will help you learn something better, more thoroughly. So in that perspective, I see all challenges as something that's going to teach me and help me learn, instead of seeing it as something that's going to block my way.
Martha, what advice or suggestions do you have for people watching that think, hey, I want to do more. I want to be where he is again with your help?
Yeah, I would definitely say, keep an eye out for where TRIO programs, being aware of where the TRIO programs are. Unfortunately, we can't serve all schools, all high schools. So learning where those target schools are, and just reaching out, the counselors, counselor secretaries, the principals, everybody's aware that when there's a TRIO program in the school. And definitely it gets difficult to come sometimes. Like, we send notes for our students and it gets a little, they get busy, they don't come around, but just knowing that they can reach out to their advisor, or to any advisor that really is in their area. I think definitely that's one of the things that they can do. Yeah.
That's a great suggestions, and a great program that's bringing great kids like Ivan. So 2023, will you come back and talk to us?
Hopefully.
After you graduate and go cure cancer or something. Congratulations, from all of Eastern Idaho. I know that everybody watching is proud to have this happen, and we'll be excited to see what happens as you go throughout Princeton University.
Thank you. I'll be looking back for support.
This is Ivan, a Skyline High School graduate, soon to be Skyline High School graduate, who has been accepted to Princeton on a full ride scholarship thanks to the TRIO program. Again, we'll have more information down below. You can click and find out more from their website. Martha, thank you for coming in as well. Thank you for watching. Have a good week.